Hi Grove Kids, this is Amy. I'm ready to read another story with you guys. I'm so excited that you get to learn about Jesus and the Bible with your parents. Remember, the Bible has two main parts, the Old Testament and the New Testament. And we're still in the first book of the Old Testament. Does anybody remember what it's called? It's called Genesis. All right, let's get started. We're going to see what God does on the sixth day of creation. After he creates the animals, what does he do? He makes something special. All right, God created people. On the sixth day of creation, God made people. God created people differently than anything else he created. God created people in his very own image. God took dust from the ground and made a man. God breathed his very own breath into the man, and the man became alive. God made a garden in the land of Eden, and he put the man in the garden. God told the man to work in the garden and take care of it. God provided food for the trees and for the man to eat. God provided food from the trees for the man to eat. And God provided a river in the garden. Then God said, "You can eat from any one of the trees in the garden, except for one." The garden had a tree in it called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God warned the man, "If you eat from that tree, you will die." Here's the picture. Now God was not yet finished with creation. He saw the man and he said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." So God decided to make a helper for the man. God brought to the man the animals he'd created, and the man gave names to all the creatures. But none of the animals was a good helper for the man. So God made the man fall fast asleep. He took one of the man's ribs and created a woman. When the man saw the woman, he was very happy. The woman was a perfect helper for the man. She was his wife. The man's name was Adam, and his wife's name was Eve. God gave Adam and Eve good things. He put them in charge of the animals and provided everything they needed. God looked at everything he had made, and it was very good. God had done everything he planned to do. So on the seventh day of creation, God rested from his work. All right, take a second and pause the video and talk about what happened in our story. All right, now I'll read you the question. Ooh, there are two questions. No, there are three questions. Feel free to pause the video whenever you need. How are people like God? How are we different from God? How did Jesus show he is man and God? Now I'll read you the Christ connection. God created people in his own image. Adam was like God in some ways, but he was not a perfect representation of God. God sent his son Jesus to show us exactly what God is like. Check out Colossians. Jesus is the perfect representation of God because he is God. Hebrews chapter 1. Have a great day.